refugee crisis in 2015. So, imagine you live in a country in which violence belongs to your everyday life and in which your own life is not secure anymore. Thousands of people are in such a situation. Many of them pack their stuff, escape, and leave their countries. They start a dangerous journey and they don't know when it will be over. They risk everything for a better life and especially for a more secure one. People who escape from their countries are called refugees. 2015 was the biggest refugee crisis the European Union ever had to deal with. But why did these people escape and what consequences does this have for our countries? So first, I'm going to talk about the reason of the reasons. So usually nowadays conflicts are try to be solved with weapons. They escalated because of the combinations of historical, political, ethical, economical, or social issues. But why did all these people came in 2015 and not in 2008 when the conflicts escalated? First of all, nobody expected that the civil war in countries like Syria or Afghanistan would take that long. They hope that they don't need to leave their countries, but after 7 years, this is completely hopeless. Most of them don't have money anymore, and if they want to go to a neighbor country, they would get a job, but they wouldn't earn anything. Many inhabitants live with their last financial savings, and they use usually the rest of them to pay the so-called smugglers, who help them to escape from their countries. Another reason is that the living conditions after 7 years of war are getting way worse. Especially medical care is very rare. Countries like Jordan, Lebanon, or Turkey have no financial aid to help people who are injured or in danger. Also, many relief organizations, for example from the United Nations, want to help, but they also have financial problems. If we take a closer look to the refugee crisis, then we see that it's not a problem of the European Union, it's more a problem of the global south in general. For example, borders are completely open. People want more stricter border controls, but even though refugees would find an even dangerous way or routes to escape. If we take a closer look to Turkey, Turkey is one of the biggest transit countries for refugees. Right now, there are over more than 2 million of people in a refugee camp. Turkey is completely losing control over this amount of people and the borders are open. So if they get catched, they will let you go because nobody wants more people in their countries. So therefore nowadays it's even easier to pass borders. But what consequence does this have for the European Union? If we take Germany, Germany is one of the countries with the most refugees. The number of accepted asylum seekers is more about 1.63 million. Therefore, Germany is on 5th place worldwide with asylum seekers. Over the half of these refugees are coming from Syria with a number of 536,000. To compare the numbers of 2015, before the refugee crisis, were only 216,000 refugees in Germany. Even though the refugee crisis is over, Germany is still attractive for many refugees and asylum seekers. Also, the number of asylum seekers application decreased, but Germany is still on 1st place in Europe and on 3rd place worldwide. The times of the "we can do this" and the so-called welcome culture, how our Chancellor Angela Merkel said, are definitely over. This changed because of big shifts in our politics, because more and more right parties are increasing their power. But why? If inhabitants in Europe think that so many refugees and asylum seekers would take their job opportunities. Also, many events like terrorist attacks in Berlin or Paris, or sexual harassment against women, like the New Year's Eve in 2015, increase the hate and bad attitude against immigrants. Therefore, the power of the right parties, which are mainly against them. In this map, you can see how much power right parties in Europe have. So, countries in dark blue represent countries in which right parties form the head of the government, and countries in light blue represent a country in which right parties are in the parliament. Most inhabitants don't want so many asylum seekers in their countries. Therefore, our government, for example, tried to find solutions with a limitation of asylum seekers every year, and their suggestion was to limit the number to 20,000 asylum seekers every year. To compare these numbers, in 2015, during the big crisis, 20,000 people only came on one weekend. I know that the crisis itself is over, but we still have to deal with the consequences. Especially the political shifts to the right, not only in Germany, in whole Europe, can be scary because we definitely want to avoid what happened in the past. So, and I hope that you know more about the refugee crisis and